But I can tell you, never ever my small nation of Georgia, that has already gone for 70 years of subjugation by these barbarians of 20th century then and 21st century now, in exactly these similar circumstances. In 1921, Russia claimed Georgia attacked one of its minorities, entered Georgia from the east, and occupied Georgia for 70 years. We were in 70 years of communist mud slavery and humiliation. I grew up with the idea that it should never happen again. I wept when Berlin Wall came down. I thought that people like former KGB people were gone for good. Well, on that one I was wrong. But on one I was never wrong, and I will never be wrong, and I will be very strong on that one, together with my people. You saw huge rally in downtown Tbilisi 2 days ago. Never ever Georgia will succumb to their pressures. Never ever we will surrender. Never ever we will give our freedom and independence. Never ever we will give any piece of our territory. And freedom will go to every part of Georgia, to every ethnic group, to every community in Georgia, and we will definitely get rid of these invaders for good. I'm totally convinced on that one. Troops must leave today. Today I signed the ceasefire agreement. I have to specify this is a ceasefire agreement. This is not a final settlement. We are under Russian invasion and Russian occupation right now. And we want to end Russian invasion and occupation. This is a ceasefire agreement between us and Russia, facilitated by France and the United States. We certainly should move from this temporary arrangement to genuine international peacekeeping force on the ground, to replace the occupiers and people who are up to trouble. Wherever there are these people, there is trouble. I have to specify, today there is a new report by Human Rights Watch saying that Russia used cluster bombs against civilians, killing lots of local civilians as well as a Dutch journalist. This is an inhuman weapon. 2 days ago, they used weapon of mass destruction, missile SS-21. This is upgraded version of SS-20 that were withdrawn from Europe under Reagan-Gorbachev agreement. They are now using them again against the neighboring countries. They've used it against pipelines and residential areas in Georgia. There is continuous instances of massive lootings and ethnic cleansing, and there is continuous Russian war propaganda machine rolling. Today already, and I accuse those people who write these articles in some newspapers, some of them might be genuine, but there are lots of people on Russian gas payroll willing to say just anything and justify just anything Russia is doing. There were such people before Second World War. There were people who would justify anything Stalin did in terms of Gulag. There were people willing to justify anything Hitler would do in Europe. There are still such people. But I think predominantly the international opinion is absolutely clear, is consolidated, and has no scruples, has no hesitations about what's really going on. It's an unprovoked, brutal invasion and attack to kill Georgian democracy and to end the independence of Georgia. And we together will deter it. And I think the last thing I want to say, Madam Secretary, we have a good agreement on rebuilding Georgian infrastructure, economy. We've got lots of solidarity from all around the world. We will increase Western economic and other presence here. Infrastructural projects. I want my country to shine and go back on its feet as never before. I want to know I know that there are other things, but I want you to know this is not some shattered country, failed state. It was failed state a few years ago. And Russia was perfectly comfortable with us until we were failed. This is the country that has the lowest corruption rate in the region according to the World Bank. This is the country which has the highest per capita FDI rate in the region. This is the highest growth rate country among all known oil economies in the world. This is the country which moved from 140-something place in terms of business environment, where we were in par with Nigeria and our neighbor Russia, to being number 17 ahead of the UK, Germany, Netherlands, and some other leading world economies. That's what we will achieve. That this is the country which had been bombed with cluster bombs, which has been robbed, looted, and still the police functioned, the lights were on, doctors were in place, supply lines never stopped, and people never got desperate and never ran away and never succumbed to this pressure. That's what we managed to build. Russia has lots of tanks, but Russia, no tank is enough to crush the will of the free people. Because freedom's light will never die here. Because 1921 will never repeat itself here. This will never die.